That's really cool, and I think you're up to something big. And I think from what for everyone sees the interaction and the engagement you get on LinkedIn, everyone knows that you're heading in the path that everyone wants to be there. Be there next to you, want to see what Dale is actually up to. How do you teach others to deal with rejection and failure from your perspective?
Yeah, as a salesperson, from day one, you have to decide and accept that rejection is just part of the culture of being in sales. It's not necessarily a good part of the culture, but it's there, it's existent. And so you have to come to terms with that. And I'll never forget the first time someone told me no. And not just like, no, we don't want your product. Like, no, you can't even come in and talk to the person in charge, right? I was dumbfounded by that. Again, like I was raised on this whole sense of community, and I had seen my dad's customers throughout my entire life. So like I was super social, but on this whole nother level where it was very close friends and family and hundreds of them, right? Like not just a few. So I looked at my life as like this big network of very close people.
Yeah.
So when I went and knocked on that door and walked in and talked to the lady at the front desk, I just assumed that she would lovingly help me out and pass me to the next person. But God no, I mean, she was furious that I walked through the door in the first place without an appointment. After the first time I did that, I asked my dad, I said, is there a better way to do this? Are we supposed to be calling people on the phone? And my dad looked me dead in the eyes and said, everything you just experienced, you're going to have to experience it thousands of times over the course of your career, right? And there is no shortcut is essentially what he told me. So again, you're back to your question, like, how do I deal with rejection? Like, once I sat down and I realized that this was part of who I was going to be, I also decided that I wasn't going to accept that type of reaction, that I was going to do everything in my power to make sure that I introduced myself appropriately, properly, and respectfully so that I could gain that attention of the person at the front desk in order to get to my prospect. So I started treating the person at the front desk as if they were the decision maker and the most important person in that place. And I think it's the right attitude to lead with, no matter what, with any human that you're interacting with. But we are so good at, because we get rejected so much, taking it out on her or him, whoever's at the front, that's what creates more rejection over time. I've watched salespeople literally tell me to my face, like, I'm calloused toward the receptionist, and then watch the way that they treat that person and think to myself, how do you sell anything? Quite frankly, I guess it goes back to that whole saying of, perseverance through the no and through the objection. But, if you ask that same person that has persevered through it and didn't, turn the dial for themselves and pitch with their reason, which is my favorite thing to do, right? How do you deal with rejection? They tell you that they just don't. They just ignore it and they just pass through it. But here's the thing, dude, is that's not possible. Unless you are literally the most unemotional human being on the face of this earth, which still, even in that instance, you're going to feel the rejection when it hits you at some point. Whether it's the first one or the 101st one, you're going to feel it. And so one of the most important things I do as a habit is I get on the phone with my mentors, the people that love me, and I do it as a warm-up before I ever make a cold call, whether it's dials or walk-ins, and I get pumped up. And I do a little role playing and I ask them how their day is going, and they tell me a little bit about their problems that are happening in their lives to just remind myself that, like, this is a struggle, but it's one that I'm willing to take because I love what I do.